Welcome to the Koalafied Gamer Guys podcast. I'm your host, Steve. With me, as always, is Neil. This is episode 25. We're almost 30. We're almost to our midlife crisis.
This is when life starts going downhill. I've heard nothing good after 25. You can rent a car now.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous?
It
takes that long.
There's so many other things that should be 25 and not. This is not one of them. Because this supposedly means that next year, when I turn 25, I'm suddenly going to be a much better driver, that I can rent a car.
Well, obviously.
That's just how it works. You get that extra experience and that.
It works the same way with car insurance, which I think is stupid. Like, just because, like, I got a year older doesn't mean I'm a better driver, but they lower your car insurance.
You know what I'm wondering, because I've heard different people talking about this, that I've never owned a car before. And so some people are saying, even though I've never gotten in an accident, they're saying, well, just because you've never owned a car, you're going to have high insurance. It's like,
yes,
but I've never gotten in an accident. Driving all my life. Not all my life.
But
10 years. 6 years?
All your life. Since you were 3, you've been behind the wheel. All right. So, here we go. Time to go.
Time to go.
This week in video game release history, it's a little bit of a stretch because this is the Japanese release date, but forgive us, it's July. So Final Fantasy X came out.
X. We'd like to call this Final Fantasy X, yes. Final Fantasy X, which I know you haven't played, but I played a great deal. Not the Japanese version.
By the way, this came out July 19th, 2001. I never got that out. Just go on.
Yeah, dude, that's a long time ago. So, like, the cool, like, typical with Square Enix, the impressive thing is how great this game looked.
Yeah.
Because this is not early PS2, but I mean, I can tell you, I was playing Suikoden 3.
This was early PS2, wasn't it?
What?
This was early PS2, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah, because they, I think it came out in 2000, maybe 99. I guess we can look it up really quickly. And the thing about this game is that, like, came out in 2000. So a year into it. And so this was the one that typical, like, set the graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was just incredible scenes. Awkward voice acting. This is when RPGs started to get into real voice acting, and they needed, like, long scripts that were actually spoken, so it was very awkward. And it has one of the most infamous scenes that is always used as an example of bad voice acting. And it's this really, really awkward scene where two people have to, like, fake laugh. To, like, I don't know, they're being, like, silly. They're like, oh, do a fake laugh. And it's cringeworthy every time. It's really bad.
Silly.
It's like, it's supposed to be silly, but it's just bad. And so, this game, really good.
Is this the one with, like, the water ball?
Blitzball, yeah, man, it's great. It's one of my favorite mini games is that you can actually, it's all a mini game. It's a sport. You can recruit players that have different stats. So you go around as you're playing and you find out this person plays blitzball, and you have to, like, recruit them to your team. They can level up. They earn special abilities like a stronger tackle or a cool shot, a trick shot. It's all stat based. So, like, if you're shooting on a goalie that has 99 defense and you have 120 attack, you're probably going to score.
Uh-huh.
And so it was really cool like that. So you'd find good defensemen and good attackmen. It's like really addicting, kind of a lot of fun to play. So that was a cool mini game. The whole story, very cool. Really liked it a lot. Gets a little far-fetched, but I feel like every RPG gets a little far-fetched towards the end when they just start, like, worlds are colliding or whatever, and it can't always hold up to it.
Yeah.
I play this game a lot because, and I think I talked about it before, the way the leveling works is it's called a sphere grid, and basically, like, if you think of a skill tree, just think of it in a grid instead, in a circular grid, but all the characters are on the same one, and it was, like, huge, so they all start at different ends, and they have, like, a certain path they go through, but eventually you can go off that path. So you could take, you know, like the typical black mage that doesn't have much strength stat, and you can just get them to be like, become a powerhouse and be your main offensive person if you want to do that. It takes a lot of work. So I was able to solo this game with just one character because I had nothing else to play and I really needed to do things. And so it was one. It's like that game where they first started to really be like, not when they first, but it was the freedom. They all had strict roles until a certain point, and then you could do what you wanted with them. So there's a lot of endgame content to it, and just a lot of fun. It has its issues, but it's been remastered for the PS3 and the PS4. I'm waiting for a sale, and I bet I will pick it up eventually because I kind of miss playing it.
I'm sure though. Yeah, it's definitely on sale. It's an old game, so
It's an old game, and they're probably, I don't know. I gotta imagine with all the new stuff, with the new one coming out, they'll probably drop this a little bit before that. I'm hoping.
yeah, I'm sure.
It's I'm trying to think like. There's another big deal why this game was so like noteworthy, and it just has to do with like the time it came out and what it was accomplishing. But I can't think of it exactly as in comparison to the game. But either way, it's definitely worth the recap or the remaster if you can get your hands on it. But
I've never played a Final Fantasy.
yeah, even though you played Bravely Default, so
Which is a Final Fantasy.
this is very similar to Bravely Default. Like that combat system reminds me of this one.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe one day, Neil.
Maybe one day.
There's a first time for everything, is the saying. But, moving on.
To Roy McIlroy, which is a PGA Tour. If you haven't noticed, we went on to the releases. It's the PGA Tour, that's a seasonal release, right? They just call it. It's usually Tiger Woods, isn't it?
They skipped it last year.
Yeah,
it's
always been Tiger Woods.
Yeah, it's been Tiger Woods.
Okay.
Forever, but he lost the licensing, so now it's Roy McIlroy.
Oh, so this is like the one. Is this done by EA too?
Yeah, this is EA. Tiger Woods like had a 10-year deal, and it's done. The last year of his deal, they didn't even release a game. So then they hopped on board with Roy McIlroy now because he's the new #1 ranked player in the world. And the curse has begun because he actually just tore up his ankle and he's out for the rest of the year. So, but yeah, I mean, this has been 2 years in development, which is kind of rare for a sports game. So, I love golf and I love these golf games. So I'm definitely getting it because I haven't gotten a golf like an EA Sports golf game in like 5 years. So it's time, you know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'll be picking it up. I'll give some reviews. I mean, I doubt most people that are interested in this video game podcast are also interested in golf. But if you are, I'll give you some feedback on it. It looks good.
It seems like I didn't know Tiger Woods had a 10-year deal. Like it's like the one sports game where they don't like rotate the covers.
Yeah.
Every time it seems, and I get I remember you were talking about this before, where like you wasn't like there's a tour like you couldn't get the Masters or something.
They had the Masters, then they lost it. Like they don't have the Masters in this one.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I don't know why.
Seems so weird, but I know like I always get we kind of I think a lot of people think along the same lines as us, where we don't get sports games every year. There's almost no point. It's almost every other year, or in this case, I guess 4 years. So it's probably going to be long overdue for a new golf game in your library, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it. And it looks gorgeous. I mean, like, you know, it's been on EA Access for like the last 5 days because, you know, part of the thing is you get the games 5 days early. So there's been like a lot of gameplay that's leaked, and it looks really good. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to golf games at all.
Well,
I just don't play golf unless if it's going to be a little Mario Golf, which I should get at some point for the 3DS.
Yeah, Mario Golf is so good.
I really got to get that at some point, but it's just a matter of I haven't played a 3DS game in so long. Even though it's sitting there, and even though it's like the summer drought, and I thought I would be playing them now, I just got caught up with so much other stuff that I can't stop playing it. Mainly, which I'm going to be talking a lot about later, and I'm hoping not too much because I keep talking about Final Fantasy for so much, and I'm becoming a Final Fantasy guy. But now we got Rocket League. If Drive Club was in Rocket League, that would be pretty great. But the next up, apart from all the random rants, is
Yeah.
the only other game really worth talking about this week besides Godzilla, which was actually a really fun game back in the GameCube. That I don't know if
Oh,
it's
is
a
it a
remake.
remake?
I don't know. It looks like it. I have no idea if it's a new one or an old one or what. How many ways can you just have giant monsters in a city sandbox throwing buildings at each other?
Well, isn't that like the entire premise of Rampage? Remember that game?
Well, they're making a movie.
I
About,
know they are.
isn't it might star The Rock or something like that?
I don't know. Let me look that up. Talk
Oh
about
my god!
management.
Breaking news: The Rock is going to be in a Rampage. Can't they make a good video game movie?
No.
Like, why? Like, it shouldn't be this hard to do it. I feel like the Last of Us movie is going to be the one that just like does it. Like people are like, this is based off a video game.
It says here The Rock will fight a giant gorilla in a Rampage film. So
Rampage. All right, when you put Rampage in their film, it's basically King Kong.
yeah, it is. Well, like then there's the lizard and the wolf. I used to love the game Rampage.
Oh, I did too. It was the greatest. It was like my go-to arcade game whenever I had to go to like.
So much fun.
Oh. So if you want to get something like Rampage, but actually nothing at all like it in any way, then pick up Godzilla, where you just can throw buildings at other monsters. And I remember liking that game, but getting really bored of it really quickly. But the only other game worth actually talking about is The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Which
Yes.
is coming out July 14th, tomorrow, of course. And it's for the PS4. This was originally a PC game.
I remember this being shown like last September at something like Gamescom or GDC or something. I forget.
People love this game. That's all I know. Like, they love it. And it's
Why
supposed to...
is that?
What?
Why do they love it? Do you know?
It's just supposed to be a very, very immersive, not horror, but like very suspicious first-person explorer.
Suspicious. It's a suspicious game.
Well, because it's like, it's not like, I don't think things are popping out at you, but you're like solving, obviously, someone named Ethan Carter has vanished, and you're trying to solve it, and it's just like, it takes you, it's supposed to be like these really beautiful locations.
Uh-huh.
Not that they're like exotic or anything, but it's just so well done that it feels very real, and it's supposed to just have this amazing story to it. Like, I think it's supposed to be like a thriller in the sense that there's a lot of twists and turns.
Okay.
I'm
I
trying to.
twists. I like turns.
Twists and turns are good. They say basically there's a 2-button control.
2-button control.
That's entertaining.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like very lots of room to like explore, but then it still can get very tense and like it's got a creepy vibe to it without being like a horror. I don't know. It's supposed to be a great game. Have yet to play it. Maybe I will play it now, but I can almost guarantee this is going to be a free game at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
But not for a while, not for a long while.
Like, I'd say like December, maybe.
I think because they made their sales in PC. It was very successful. They're pushing it to PS4 where they're going to make more of their sales. And then they're going to come up with the next game at some point. It's going to be like The Vanishing of Carter, Ethan, or something.
His brother.
His brother who's got switched names. And then they're going to just be like, oh yeah, here's the free one. I feel like we're pretty on point when we call the free games out ahead of time. I might be making that up and I can't prove it, but I feel like we're on point with it.
No, I usually think we're good too.
Well, as long as we think it, that nothing else matters.
Oh, by the way, like literally, as we're speaking, the Tony Hawk 5 trailer just dropped.
Oh.
So, if you want to move on, and I'll watch it in the background, and I can tell you how it looks.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the topics, which I guess we'll start with why. The one that I put my own name into. I write my own name. I go, Neil now wants No Man's Sky. And that's the truth. And for the longest time, I thought No Man's Sky was really boring. Not that it was bad. It just wasn't something I wanted because I thought
it didn't show that there was a lot going on.
I thought you literally just walked around planets and looked at things, then flew to another one and walked around and looked at things. I didn't realize you could mine stuff. You could upgrade your vehicle, your spaceship, and your armor and your weapons. I didn't realize there was a trading. You could like trade with other people. They were saying you can be like, you don't have to explore anything. You can just go in and be a merchant and just buy and sell, and that's the entire game. That's all you want to do. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can be the people who are exploring new planets and finding new things and being like the people who are literally mapping the galaxy and like working together. Which I know the community is going to work together because it all takes place in the same universe, even if it is infinite. Essentially, like it has an end, but you'll never get there. And so all these people are going to be mapping it together, which I think is going to be really cool. And then you can also be like they gave an example, the developer, that you could be a sky pirate where you just steal things from other people. Maybe not other people, but like there's AI that has items, and you can make a whole living just by stealing their stuff. But they were saying it's really hard to do, but it's possible. So they were like, you might just get bands of people that work together as sky pirates. Or
by the way, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 looks pretty awful. But go on.
does it look like a typical?
It looks like a PS2 game.
Oh God.
Go on though.
But now I have a question about No Man's Sky, which I don't think I've ever actually known the answer to. Is it a multiplayer game?
No.
Yeah, so it is your own, right? Which kind of sucks. I wish it was a multiplayer game, but
No, it's your own thing, but it's connected to the world.
right. So they were still saying you can be like a sky pirate. Not that you can work with other people, but you could. There are other pirates in the game that will attack a fleet, and you could go in and defend it, or join them and attack this fleet. So like that kind of all interests me. The thought of like seeing the actual gameplay, it looked pretty cool. Then I just kind of want to support the developer. I was reading about how they came up with the game from like the creation standpoint. It was like a feature on IGN, and I was just like, I really want to support these guys. They sound really cool where they came from.
Well, then send them a check.
I'm gonna buy their game. That's support.
Oh, that works too. Okay.
Send them a check and never play the game.
Yeah. Hey, good work out there, guys.
I like what you did with this. I don't want it, but I like what you did.
That was the same people that, like, remember they had a huge flood in their,
Yes.
like, in the middle of development, like, their whole studio got flooded. That sucked.
I forgot that was Hello Games.
Yep. Hello, games.
Yeah, that was awful. I know they've been working on this for a while, but there's a cool feature on IGN that talks about it. They made their claim to fame is making Joe Danger, which is like a side-scrolling.
I love Joe Danger.
Yeah, Stuntman. Like they made that, and I think they made a couple sequels, and they were like, the main developer or head of the studio, or whatever, was just like, I don't want to make any more of these, but he couldn't. He needed like the money. You can't just not do it.
Fuck Joe Danger is what he said.
Basically, yes. He was just like, I don't care about this anymore. So like, him and like the studio started I think 4 people made Joe Danger, and it grew to like 10. And then him and like 2 other people went in this room, and they said they just blacked out all the windows and everything, and they just worked on No Man's Sky.
That's awesome.
And they were just like, they didn't tell anyone. They were like, we can't tell anyone about this yet. They said they used to call it Project Skyscraper. And they knew,
yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, and they like, it was the original plan even before Joe Danger. Like they always had it in their mind. They just couldn't do it. And so that's why I always like those stories where it's like, they've been working on this for so long and they've known about it.
Now they're trying to change the world.
Yeah, they are. I hope it does well. I feel like it's not going to do as well as all the hype that it's getting. But I think it's definitely going to be a game worth playing. And it's going to open up new mechanics at least. I'm excited to see what other games do. Like Minecraft comes out and now you have like all these different types of Minecraft games. And some do it well, some don't. I think people are going to start doing like, well, why don't we make a giant world, but this time we're going to have it online or something like that.
Yeah. It's a cool concept, but like I'm kind of like with you, or like I need to see more of it before I'm really into it, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, so exactly. Like I'm seeing the gameplay and it's getting me a little bit more interested, but I'm not totally there yet. I think I'm going to it depends. It doesn't know when it's coming out yet, but based off that it's going to decide everything pretty much. Because if it comes out, like, holiday time, not going to happen. It comes out in the summer, then probably, yeah. Let's take a guess. When do you think this game's going to come out?
March next year.
March? All right. I was going to say after holiday. Yeah, so. I agree.
About March, then.
Yeah.
All right. Now, some news that came... Was this last night or today?
I think it was kind of... It happened Saturday, I think. But
then
they announced it, I think, yesterday. Last night, I believe, yeah.
So, Saturo Iwata, the CEO of Nintendo passed away, which is pretty sad. He was like the face of the directs and everything, and pretty well respected within the games community. So sad, and he had like a really cool lineage of working on games and coming up with these innovative concepts or whatever. And he was just like more than any of the other CEOs of the other game companies. He was kind of like a face, or you knew what he looked like, and he would show up at events and everything. So
Yeah, it's like you were saying, he's always been called an actual gamer.
yeah,
That other people, they're like the corporation guys that they like games and they might like family fun kind of like technology, and they even go as far as saying Sony and Microsoft are technology companies, Nintendo is a gaming company, and
yeah.
Iwata is like, oh, he's a gamer, and he described himself that way. He would say he's a CEO on a business card, a like developer, and I should get the actual quote. But
Well, like,
he basically always claims that he is a gamer and he's always in for the games, and you could see him that he was always about that. And one is I have some of his accomplishments because they're pretty insane.
well, I just think it's very interesting that he was like the CEO of Nintendo, but like I don't think any other CEO actually has game development experience. You know what I mean? Like he actually like has a hand in like some pretty impressive games, which I think that you're gonna
Yeah,
talk about.
exactly. He had a huge, first off, he's had a huge hand in Earthbound, like Kirby,
Yeah,
a lot of the games. But he was there from Earthbound, I think from scratch with the creator. Like that was his game from, I think, Hell Studios, Hell Laboratories, which was the developers he worked with before. And then he also did, what is it, Balloon Riders? He did another game that I have not,
Boom Fight.
yeah, which I have not personally played, but I know it's huge. But what has impressed me is that I guess he's a really good programmer. Like I
Yeah,
guess he was the one who was able to import the code for Pokemon Stadium. Like he was able to get that to work on the
yeah.
Nintendo
I
64.
I would hear stories of him like stepping in when like teams at Nintendo needed help, and he would like solve their problems for them.
Yeah, this next example, which is my favorite, I guess, is when Pokemon Gold and Silver, which is some of the most popular games. I'm gonna get the right name here. So there's only a certain amount of space, obviously, in the game. I don't get how coding exactly works, but all code has size to it, and eventually you run out of space. Unless if you do it right, it can get really bloated. I've made a couple websites, and like the more code you have behind it, the slower the website runs, and you have to like
Yeah, of
cut certain
course.
things out. Same thing with a game. Like there's unnecessary code that it will work, but it doesn't work as well as a shorter piece of code. And basically, so Gold and Silver, the people that were developing it, which I think was Game Freak, they were only able to fit what's the first place called, Johto. They were only able to fit Johto into the entire game, like that was the whole game. And then Iwata was able to compress the code well enough that they fit in Kanto as well. So he just like
Huh.
half the game, half the code down, so they could double the game size. So that's essentially like The Witcher. If they were like, we could only have one area like Valen, and then they were just like, oh no, let me just step in here, compress it down to half the size, so we can add all the isles, the skill like isles, which are just as big. So like that's a huge accomplishment. That's not easy, especially anyone that knows how to program a code going into somebody else's.
Is
It's,
very complicated.
it's always a
Yeah.
headache because they have their own shortcuts, their own little terminology, and even though it's technically the same language, it's the equivalent. Like in high school, you'd read somebody else's notes for a test, and you'd be like, I have no idea what they're talking about, even though we sat
Yeah.
in the same class.
Because he was like a shorthand.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Like it's very complicated. He was able to do that. He did a ton of stuff. What I really like about this,
Yeah.
not that I like about this, but what's really cool is it's getting national attention. Like I saw a feature on Rolling Stones about it, The New Yorker, like just non-gaming stuff. All know how important he is in the gaming world and just in general. And I didn't know that much about him, but like obviously I'm reading all this stuff now that he's passed away. To kind of wish I knew more before he did that. Then I would have appreciated him more because like to me he was like the cool guy that would show up to the cons, or he'd lead the Nintendo
Correct.
Directs as like a puppet or whatever. Like that was always cool.
Yeah.
But I guess it was him who like pushed Nintendo in the direction of trying to be more friendly to all people. and
Yeah.
they say that was a big deal of why the Wii came out. Like he was the one who kind of pushed it in that direction because anyone he even has a quote. He's like anyone can pick up the Wii remote and play Wii tennis. You don't need to be a gamer. You can just do it. So like
Mhm.
the success of the Wii is not 100% on him, but a lot of people are like he really pushed that. And the 3DS, which I guess he had a huge hand in as well, which was like the most successful handheld. So to say he knew what he was doing is a bit of an understatement.
Yeah. Um, and, it'll be interesting going forward, just seeing who will step up and replace him. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure it'll probably end up being a name that we've never heard because I don't think that Miyamoto wants to do that, from
yeah,
what I
they're saying
understand.
he's in the running, but I don't think he does either. Maybe now that he's I don't know he knows enough about it, or maybe it would
That's
just be
true.
maybe he. I know he's like an intern with someone else right now until they find a new person.
Yeah.
But I think what's also crazy, and I didn't know this about Nintendo either, is that the person he took over for, which I'm looking for his name and see if I can pronounce this, Hiroshi Yamauchi,
Yeah.
was the president since 1949, and he passed it over to Iwata. And Iwata was the first uh, president of the company that was not related to the Yamauchi family.
Hmm.
So like they just had a dynasty on Nintendo since its creation, and then he was the first person to take it over. So he like took it away from like this family name and made it like a more open public company. I don't know, like he just seemed to be one of the most important people in Nintendo, and so it really sucks that he's gone. But
Hmm.
I'm like you, I'm kind of I want to see where it goes. I
Yeah.
mean, Nintendo's always been about not really caring what the market's doing, and they're going to do their own thing. It kind of seems like,
Hmm.
at least to an extent, they kind of.
Nintendo is just like such a cool company. Like it's a video game company that's been around since 1889. Like
That's so crazy,
that's so cool.
and it's
Uh,
just like we've definitely talked about this on the podcast before, where we like the Wii is the perfect example. Like PS4 and Xbox 360 were like pushing graphics, pushing like entertainment system, like you can do everything, and the Wii is just like we're gonna be like family friendly where everybody can play. We
well,
don't
I
really
mean,
we don't.
I think that this of the Iwata quote that it just works into that fully is that he said that games, you know, I forget. I'm obviously paraphrasing here, but he essentially would say that like games are just supposed to be fun. Like that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Realism doesn't matter. Graphics don't matter. It just needs to be fun. So like that's all they really wanted. So they like the Wii was just a way for them to say how can we have more people having more fun, and the way that they figured that they could do that is by getting it in the hands of people that had no experience with it. So
yeah, and that's what the Wii did. It was all about openness. That I remember my mom went on like a work conference, and she was like the hotel lobby had just a Wii in it, and they
yeah,
said everyone like they usually go out for drinks or whatever and that, but they said everyone just sat in that hotel lobby playing the Wii bowling for like 3 hours.
yeah. I mean, everyone loves Wii bowling. Everyone.
Yeah, like it's just like everyone could play that game, and that's exactly what they wanted to do out of it. Is that they were like, we want everybody to just have fun and play this game. We don't care about telling an intricate story. And like I make the argument that there are games that aren't supposed to be fun, in the sense that like they're telling an important subject matter or something like that. But there are definitely games that you just want to have fun with, and the Wii was probably the king of those games in the sense that it had something like WarioWare and stuff like that, like just these silly games that were just an absolute riot to play with people.
Yeah, it's true. So it's sad. Sad passing, but it's good to see that he's being remembered in so many different avenues and ways. So,
No, for sure.
um, and just a heads up to our listeners out there, because we're gonna try and post this before Wednesday. That there's a huge Amazon Prime sale going on Wednesday. That's the 15th of July. And you have to be a Prime member, but you can sign up for like the free trial, and that counts. But also, I read today that Walmart is going to have their own sale
Ooh.
in an attempt to get some of the hype or whatever. So this is Amazon said that this is their first annual Prime Day, and they're going to have more deals than they have on Black Friday. So
Wow.
keep your eyes out for some video game deals. I'm sure there'll be some stuff
Oh
that
man.
you guys can
I like
pick up.
my Prime just ran out like my free
Oh,
trial ran out last
if
month.
you want anything, let me know and I can get it for
I
you.
was gonna say I probably will. I'll just text you like Steve, get this.
Yeah, and then
PayPal it up.
yeah,
I hope,
exactly.
dude. I hope.
I'll have it sent straight to you.
I hope there's some great game sales on here. Maybe this one I'm gonna get Final Fantasy X. Maybe it'll
I'm
be like.
sure there's gonna be a ton of sales.
I mean, I hope it's games I haven't played. I feel like I'm playing a ton of games lately, so I'm missing out on these deals.
This is perfect. My plan is to pick up the Handsome Jack collection on this.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
I'm hoping that'll get to like $30, and then I was thinking about what else is going to go on sale. That like I said, like any game that I said before, like I'll just leave that for the summer. So
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Handsome, I completely forgot about that. That would be a lot of fun to get. I'm still like waiting to pick back up Shadows of Mordor. I'm just waiting for it to get down solo. I want Rayman Legends. I'm keep waiting for a discount, and
that'll be cheap.
It's always
that's been out for
discounting.
so long.
I know, but it's always discounting on PC and Xbox. It's yet to discount on the PS4.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder why.
I know, because I'm always watching out for it. Because I love that game, and that's another fun party game, just to play with people.
Yeah, but just like heads up, that'll be exciting.
Steve Steele, all of Amazon.
That is the Steve Steele and the Neil Steele. I was gonna say here. So, what have you been playing recently?
So I went on a Hearthstone break, and that lasted literally about 20 minutes until Tavern Brawl came out.
Which was so good.
Well, the reason I haven't been playing it a lot is because Hearthstone's perfect. Like, I don't play it at work like Steve does.
Well, I don't work anymore.
Yes, but I bet you won't play it as much.
Well, no, I play it a lot still.
Okay. Well, see, for me, like, I don't play it at work because I don't like. I get really nervous because people walk by my desk all the time, and I should be working, of course, kids. And but like I was watching just like TV last night, which I rarely watch TV. I'm usually playing games like on my computer or whatever. And then I just played like 10 matches in a row, and not 10, but like I just kept playing because I was like, oh, I'm watching TV. This is just a fun thing to do. So then I went through like all my quests last night with the road, which was great. I usually struggle with the road quest a little bit, but I just like felt really good. I forgot that a card pack only cost 100, so I kept like struggling to get to 150 to buy a card pack. I did that twice before realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else have I been playing? Drive Club, still great. We're gonna talk about a little Rocket League later. I guess I'll talk about Final Fantasy 14 just quickly, and the fact that I think I'm getting away from it a little bit, and which I've been obsessed with this game since I started playing it like a month ago. And the reason why is mainly I'm getting closer to the end of the game, and so in the beginning it's like it does end. It does have. It's a very interesting story, and the story does have an end, and it's a really good ending from what I hear.
Okay.
And so I'm definitely going to finish it, and I'm really excited to finish it. But I'm not. I don't think I care about the end game content at all. Like that's what people who play MMOs. That's what they like. They like all that high level, like 24-person raids and then like an hour dungeon that takes for like. But that all sounds like the hardcore MMO, and I'm like in for the casual experience. Like every dungeon I've done is just like a really kind of simple. It's like difficult that if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna die, but it's not hard in any sense. And so it's just been fun going with people through those dungeons. But as I'm getting closer, I'm getting to the harder ones, and people being more and more short. Mm-hmm. They're like, if you used to make a mistake, they'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. And now if you make a mistake, they're like, why do you suck so much? You should read a guide. What's wrong with you? Watch a YouTube video, know your character. Why are you even in this? Like, one guy, like, I've yet to be yelled at, thankfully, but
I yell at you all the time.
I feel like it's either they don't think it's worth their time to yell at me, or I must know what I'm doing. I don't know. But so like the tank in one dungeon wasn't doing as well as he could have been doing, and he was new, so it was like we were both like, oh, don't worry, man, it's fine. Like he apologized, and like the healer who had to keep him alive just was like, no, you suck, you shouldn't be in this dungeon, and then just left. So like we can't advance without the healer, so we're like, well, that was unnecessary. And so it's getting more and more like that. Like I'm running into more of those people because I'm getting closer to the end of the game where they're grinding this dungeons to get the loot.
Of course.
And so that's why I can't say if because I'm avoiding the spoilers and stuff, but I don't know if the raids and hard dungeons are right before the end of the game,
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
or you beat the game and then they're after. It could go either way. And so, if they're before, I don't know. If I'll probably try it for a little bit, but then I might just watch it on YouTube or something because I'm not you hear horror stories of you have to like join like a guild and then sign up for a night that you can do it, and then make sure you're there on time. You have to get the right gear and you have to get the right skill set, and like you have to do all this stuff in preparation. That sounds like if you make the tiniest mistake, you're just gonna get kicked and no one's gonna watch you.
It's ridiculous.
And yeah, so like it's getting to the point where it's that hardcore MMO stuff, which maybe I'll get there and it'll be fine. Like I'll know what I'm doing, so no one cares. But you only see on Reddit how like you have to have all these like parts of every dungeon memorized down to like every little creature. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm not about to invest that time. This was just to carry me through the summer, which it has been doing. I've been playing it every day. Now I got Rocket League. I can always go back to Bloodborne, which I've been wanting to do actually. And so that's what I'm like. I'm playing it, but I'm gonna fall off of it pretty soon, I think. But speaking of finished games, I know you finished one.
I did. I finished Batman.
And you were pretty disappointed, if I recall.
No, I loved it.
I know.
Yeah, so I finished Batman. I finished the main story. The last hour is like just nuts. Like it's a third person shooter for like 30 minutes, then it goes to a first person shooter, and then
really?
Yeah, it's like really cool.
So
and like I can't like explain why because that would ruin everything.
Yeah.
But and it's really well done, and it really wraps up the story well. And then when you're done, to get like the actual ending, where like the whole concept of like, oh, this is how the Batman dies, you have to do like 6 of the side quests, and then once you do like complete them all the way through, so that you catch 6 criminals. So like once I did that too, I caught I did like the Penguin one and Two-Face, whatever, and I got all them. And I got like the true ending or the final ending. But then there's even more after that, where you have to get the remaining 4 criminals, and then you get the final ending with bonus. But I don't think I'm going to make it to that, so I'm probably just going to watch it on YouTube. But I did make it. I was actually playing today, and I was like cleaning up like some stuff, and the thing is, like, I could do everything, and then I would have to do all 200 Riddler things, and then to get the ending. And like, I would do it if that was like all I needed for the platinum, but there's so much more to do for the platinum on top of that. I have to do all the challenges. I have to do like a bunch of random stuff, like fly around and like in one fly, like go under all 3 bridges and stuff like that. So like, I'm gonna probably finish up everything except, and then once I get to the Riddler challenges being the only thing remaining, I'm gonna call it quits.
I gotcha. Yeah, so what do you think about them having like locked endings behind the first content that's not the main story?
The first one makes sense, like the first locked ending, because like that ending wraps up the trilogy. The ending, like the main story ending, just ends the story of this game. The ending that you get from apprehending 6 of the villains, that ends the whole trilogy story. Okay. So that makes sense. And I'm fine with there being another one, because apparently it's the exact same, but there's like a little like 20-second Easter egg trailer at the end.
Oh, so it's not like you're missing something if you don't.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm being robbed of it. So like I'm gonna play everything I want to play, which will leave me with just the Riddler like things, and then I'll just move on and watch it on YouTube and then be done with it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I thought it was like
it's 3 different endings. It's the ending of the main story, the ending of the trilogy, and then like the ending of the trilogy with an Easter egg or whatever. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'm okay with that then.
I'm probably just gonna watch it on YouTube and.
Yeah, I almost debated starting just a Let's Play, not starting a Let's Play, watching a Let's Play. Obviously, when playing it, so I could see the story. But I was like, no, I'm gonna wait because I know I'm gonna play this eventually at some point, just so I could see the story. Because everyone, including you, has just been saying how amazing it is.
The story's good.
And it's just so I think I'll definitely play it. I think at some point. It's just shockingly I have other things to play right now in the middle of summer.
what price would it have to fall to on the Prime Day for you to go for it?
If it dropped to 30, I'd probably get it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think I
I
still.
bet it might go to 45.
I bet no. I bet it'll go to 40.
40? Oh, dude,
Yeah.
40 would be pushing it. 40 might be like, I'll look up for a coupon, and if I can get another 5 off, I might do it.
Yeah, well, I bet you get it to 40.
Because that's. Because then I would sell it, and I probably could sell it for like 35, 25
It's
after.
35 right now.
And so it wouldn't even be like. It would be more like renting. I wouldn't really care that much. But then I'd always have to go to like. Because besides Metal Gear Solid, I don't plan on buying another game, and that's not until September.
Yeah, I mean it's good, man. It's good. It's a really good story.
Yeah, and then, like that's what I would play it for. And like I would do, like the side quest where you're catching the other villains sounds kind of cool. I always avoid like the very small, simple collect this, collect that. Oh, beat these 10 guys or whatever.
There's only like I'm kind of just into those. I'm like on to the part where like I'm just like going around to like guard posts and like liberating the city, like that kind of stuff. So, and at the end of those, you get like little boss battles, but they're not like I've already cleared up Two-Face, the Penguin, Poison Ivy. Like I've done all of those, so I'm on to like I had bigger fish to fry, and now I'm just doing little stuff. So yeah, and then other than that, just playing Hearthstone per usual. I'm also getting into Rocket League. We have yet to play yet because the yet to play yet. I was because the servers have been terrible. But
yeah, I tried when I came home to get in the game and I couldn't connect. It said the servers were offline, and then it would just like it would search forever. Then it'd be like there's an error. We're starting your search over, and
yeah,
it's and that's the biggest issue, which we were afraid that a rocky start to Rocket League could ruin it, but
I think it'll be fine.
I think it is too. I think a free game, people have it. The Reddit is constantly like,
yeah,
don't give up on this game. It's going to be good. If you get into a game, which I have been getting into them more and more, but my internet's been pretty bad. Even I told Steve yesterday, like you can see your pings, everyone's ping, like they're how well they're connected to the game. And everyone, like the average is somewhere between 20 and 40. Like that's what you kind of want. And mine can get up to like 600 in some games. It's so bad. And then that's like really bad. Usually it's around 200, which is still pretty bad. And then other times it would be at like 40. It will be fine. And you like my suggestion is to join a region near you. I think there's Northeast. I think there's the West Coast. U.S. Northeast, U.S. West Coast. Then there's, I think, Europe, and then Oceania. And so try to join the one that's near you, and it definitely helps for sure. Me and Steve have yet to play this together, even though we love this game and we have a lot of fun with it. We just haven't been able to do that. We haven't played any game together in a while. We'll just keep doing our own things.
We've been playing a lot of single player games.
Yeah, we should. Oh man, hopefully now maybe that you're out of work. We'll have a day, maybe play some Drive Club, a little Rocket League, even Hearthstone. We haven't even played Hearthstone.
I know.
Forever. It's been so crazy.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to it.
Yeah, but Rocket League, if you have a PS4, 100% download this game.
It's very good.
If you have to pay $20 for it on Steam, I would also say pay $20 for this game. It is that good.
It's fun. The season's pretty cool too. I've been doing one of those.
I have to do the season more. I haven't really been doing it much. I just keep trying to play online. But I guess if I can't connect, I might as well try it. Do you? I'm trying to think of the season. So like it's just a normal season mode, right? Like
you like go through and you play each team, and you could set how long you want the season to be, how many teams make the playoffs, how many teams there are, all that stuff. So it's pretty fun, and all the teams get like their own like names and logos and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like I set that up and I played one game. And it's kind of fun how it's like you get to name that stuff and you get to like you can let your AI teammates build themselves so they look ridiculous or whatever like that. And can you do like a local 2-player season or whatever where you play with, or does it have to be single player? I can't.
You can do local multiplayer on that.
Okay, but not online, right?
No, there's no online.
That would be fun. I wish they did that. Like I do have a few complaints about it besides the servers. I wish you could play an online season because we would do like a season together. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
There is a ranked play online, which is good, and they haven't started an official season because it's in the middle of July, and I think they're going to wait till August. and then they're gonna have season play, which I think is really gonna do well. It would be cool to see teams like actually make a team or whatever and kind of like compete or do a random. I don't know how it's gonna work exactly, but that would be really fun. I kind of was hoping some of the levels would have like obstacles to be a little different, like even just like a fun mini game to a little car soccer game. Mainly because like it's just like it's like a sports game. Any sports game, the playing field doesn't actually change; just the stadium around it does. And so in that regard, it's like a typical sports game. But it would be really cool, like if just one had traps or like a bridge that you could like bring the ball up to, like something like that. Maybe like a triangular dome or something, like a simple thing like that. I think
something to change it up. I know what you mean.
Yeah, which I bet, and they announced a DLC a free DLC that's gonna have like a new level and stuff like that. So I'm hoping they do that, but who knows if they actually will. Either way, it's still an absolutely fantastic game.
It really is. It's so good. So, well worth it. And you have anything else that's going on, or?
No, that's pretty much it. I would just say absolutely play Rocket League if you can, and Hearthstone, because that's also free.
Yes. Well, free to a point.
Yeah, it's actually very frustrating when if I ever lose to somebody who has Unreal cards, I just assume they pay a lot of money.
Yep, always.
No matter what, no matter how long they've been playing, they put too much money into it.
So should we wrap this up like a sandwich?
I thought you were gonna say like, should we get in our cars and rocket off or something like that?
Yeah. Well, that works.
Blasting off again.
We're blasting off again into the great abyss. All right. This has been the 25th episode of the Koalafied Gaming Guys podcast. You might notice these are a little shorter than usual, but obviously this is the summer, so between like us having things going on and there's not really that much going on right now. So once we get to like, I guess the fall, this will pump up, because like once we start playing big games again, like now I finished Batman and like that's it for me until I don't even know what the first game in September.
Metal Gear Solid, man. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Just like The Witcher. Just every game I recommend you love.
No. So I don't. So I don't know. Like going forwards, but we'll keep you entertained. Maybe we'll come up with like a funny little like top 5 list or whatever, so that we sometimes do at some point. So yeah. If you'd like to send us an email, you can reach us at koalafiedgamerguys@gmail.com. We'd really appreciate it. It's been a while since we got an email, so it hurts.
It hurts a lot.
You can follow us on Twitter at KoalafiedGGS. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/KoalafiedGamerGuys. If you're on our YouTube right now listening to this, we'd love if you subscribed. Really help us out. You get a little notification every time we post a video. If you follow us on Twitter, you also get a little tweet every time we post a video. And sometimes you'll get funny pictures of koalas with dumb captions.
That's probably 90% of our Twitter.
Yes. What else? Oh, if you liked our intro song, you can head over to soundcloud.com/gearheadedm. And again, send us some questions at koalafiedgamerguys@gmail.com. And we'll answer them. We'll keep it on the show. And, like we said, we're kind of scrapped for content right now. Even like this week in video game release history is pretty hard because not that much stuff comes out.
Yeah.
So if you send us an email, we'll have something to talk about. So
do it.
Just do it. Make your dreams come true. All right, you guys, anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. I'll say R.I.P. Iwata, good man.
You just said R.I.P. Rest peace.
Well, I ruined that, so
in rest
peace.
Yes, Iwata, a good guy. Sorry to see him go, and he'd been sick for a while though, so maybe it's for the best. All right, so you could find us next week. We'll be posting another video. Until then, stay cool out there, koalas.